Welcome to the Labyrinth. I am your host, Pratham Padav. If you find this podcast useful, please subscribe. If you're listening to this podcast through Apple Podcast or Spotify, please click the follow button to keep getting updates. My guest today is Abhijeet Bhansali. He has a YouTube channel called Bearded Chokra, which has more than 2 lakh subscribers. He talks mainly about hair and beard care, skin care, health and nutrition. He reviews products that are about skincare and healthcare. He has a M.Sc in biotechnology, so these subjects are right up his alley. And this episode is slightly ironic because he's a hair care expert and the host barely has any hair on his head. So, Abhijit, welcome to the Labyrinth.
Thank you so much, Pratham. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm sure we're going to have a very fruitful, discussion on this podcast over here. And to all the people who are watching this podcast, please subscribe to the Labyrinth. He makes really good videos, and you just need to have some patience, and you'll get a lot of information on this channel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abhijit. So, when did you grow passionate about hair care and beard care?
Okay, so I'll be very honest with you. Back in around 2015, I believe, was when I was at a very low phase in my life. Like I weighed around 115 kgs in around 2014, 2015, sometime that time. And at that point, I decided that, by that time, it had been almost 12 years of me failing to lose weight. I tried everything, all types of crash diets, all types of gymming, everything. None of it worked because I was not ready. It's not that those things don't work. It's just my approach towards those things was not right. I wanted quick results, and none of that was working. So then I finally, decided that now it's going to be weight loss or, the bad side of the medical industry. So that happened, and then in that journey itself, I started growing a beard. So I just said that now I've been shaving for past couple of years, and now I just want to stop and see what happens. How do I feel about it? How does people's perception towards me change? So that happened, and then I started YouTube, and hair care was not even a part of this part of my vision, to be very honest, because I started with only beard content, and then suddenly what happened is I started losing out hair, and I started facing a lot of hair fall issues, and then I visited dermatologists, and then I visited a lot of doctors, psychologists, and took medications which are usually prescribed for all of these things, and I did that for months and months and nothing happened. And because of those medications I also got side effects, and I did not like this, and that's where my study for all of this began. And then I just dived deep into this pool of scientific literature that is there for your skin, your hair, your health, and all of these things. And that's when I found the key things which link uh, all the pieces of the puzzle. And that's when I said that now I found a way to at least prevent this, if not reverse this. And that's where I started making videos on YouTube about hair. So first it was only beard, then I went into hair, skin, and then product reviews happened because then brands started liking my content, and then they started sending out products to me. Because at that point, see, Bearded Chokra is India's first male beard centric channel. So there was nobody when I started out. And at that point itself, I think in 2017 was the time when all these beard brands started coming in. The trend for beard started going up in 2017. So they didn't have anywhere to advertise their products except the usual marketing strategies that companies have. So then my channel was the only channel which they had at that particular point. And so all these beard companies that you see today, it's like we both have grown together. Like my channel and their companies, everyone has grown together because we started the same journey, and it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful.
Is it hard? How much effort does it take for you to maintain your look?
So I'll be very honest. I used to be very conscious about my look early on, 2017, 2018. Now I don't care. To be very honest, just before coming to shoot this, I just put a cap on so that I don't look like a homeless guy. I've left my hair open and I just comb my beard and I just sat over here. So it takes, see, the thing with me is I'm a very, very low maintenance kind of guy. I don't like to use 100 products and 100 steps to look in a certain way because none of that matters the moment you open your mouth. So the moment you open your mouth and when you speak, if that is impactful, it doesn't matter how you look. So I don't take a lot of efforts into this. I did used to blow drying and pre-styling and 100 different products, making sure not even one beard hair is going this way. I used to do all of that, but then life taught me lessons, so it's fine.
So earlier you mentioned that you had hair fall problems. Was there a
Yeah.
particular cause for that?
So according to my understanding of it, it was a multitude of reasons. One was stress. I was having a lot of family issues. Along with that, it was my exam stress, my college stress, all of that stuff. And at the same time, it was a very, very sharp decrease in my weight from 115 kgs to 65 kgs. It was a very sharp weight which I lost in around 1 or 1.5 years. So that was the reason why the body probably got a calorie deficit, nutrient shock, and it was very temporary thing. So and plus because of that maybe some dandruff issues and all of those things, so all of those things started creeping on together. Okay. And because of that, then this is what I feel, because this is what I understand. Like, because you go to a doctor and then they'll tell you you have DHT and male pattern baldness and all of those things, but the trigger to that is something. This is what I've understood out of it. But yes, it was a temporary phase and I caught it at the right moment, I'll be very honest. uh, if I wouldn't have paid attention to it back then, I would have been in a very, very bad state right now. So I caught it at the right moment, and everything happens for a reason. So it was just an alarm for me to make sure that I'm going on this path in the right way. So it was that way.
That 115 to 65 kgs, that's almost,
Yeah.
half. You reduced your weight by half. That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. How did you do that?
So for this, uh, I'll give you a little bit of a background. I since childhood have had very weak joints. Okay, whether it is my knee joints, my hip joints, I've had multiple fractures, multiple dislocations, all of these things. Okay, so running for me is not the best thing. I can't run very effortlessly. And I don't like the environment of the gym, sitting in in a very closed environment, a lot of people breathing the same air. It just feels very unnatural to me. So I tried all of those things, nothing worked out. So what I used to do is, back then I was in my master's first year. Okay. And from my house till my college, I used to take a rickshaw to the bus stop, and then a bus to the station, and then a rickshaw from the station to the college. So it was like this. So what I decided when I wanted to lose weight is that I will completely remove the rickshaw from my life. Okay. So I will walk that distance which I used to take the rickshaw. So I used to walk around 10 kilometers every day. And so it used to take me a hell lot of time in the beginning because my knees would not cope up with me. I was extremely obese. But I did it slowly, slowly, slowly. I pumped it up. So 10 kilometers every day walking, and I used to climb around 10 floors to begin with. And then at my peak, I was climbing 40 floors. So my building's around 22 floors. So I used to do it twice. I used to do that, and then very consciously removing processed and packaged food from the diet. So everything that came ready to eat in a packet, I just removed it. And so that itself removed all that maida and excess salt, and all that thing was immediately shut off from my life. And this was sufficient to bring me from 115 to about 80ish. From 80 to 65 was very difficult because I hit a plateau. My weight just would not decrease because physically I was already exhausting myself, like 10 kilometers every day, 40 floors, ye wo sab kuch karne ke baad bhi, it was like my body, there's no longer enough energy for me to do anything more. So after that, what I did is I explored intermittent fasting and ketosis. So intermittent fasting, I didn't know what intermittent fasting was in terms of the definition, but I've always done it all throughout my life. I've never had a single breakfast in my life. I don't, I cannot eat in the morning. That's just how my body works. Uh, if I eat in the morning, my entire day becomes lethargic. So I always have skipped breakfast. So that's when I, started studying about it. A very good friend of mine, Karan Kharas, he's a professional bodybuilder, model, all of these things. So he just told me these things. Why don't you read about, intermittent fasting and ketosis? So I read about it, I followed it, and then with ketosis, it was just like magic. All that weight just melted off of me, and I have never felt better when I was doing ketosis. So because at that time I was a non-vegetarian, so keto on non-veg is very easy. You can have cheese and chicken the entire day and you will be happy. Uh, but now that I'm vegetarian since the past, I think 2.5 years, it's very difficult doing keto on veg. That's why I've come off of keto now, and my weight is now somewhere between 70 75, and I'm perfectly okay with that because it's a healthy weight. Like 65, I was looking very weak, like very skinny. So I think I'm okay right now, but it was in stages. So to give you a slightly bigger insight into this, I am a very, very big foodie. And when I was at my heaviest, I was an alcoholic, I was a smoker, and I was doing basically everything that will take you to your graveyard very quickly. So I was on the worst of the worst paths. So what I did was every 10 kilos that I lost, I gave myself a reward. So now exactly I don't remember what those rewards were, but like first 10 kgs, I'll go and buy myself a watch that I wanted. The next 10 kgs, I'll go buy myself a shoes that I wanted. So it kept me motivated to stick to this. It was just like, an experiment that I did with myself. And it was fruitful, obviously. And the last, when I decided that I'll hit my target weight, I'll change my wardrobe, like all new clothes which fit me, because I used to wear 4XL, 46 chest and 46 waist. I was like a box. So now if I can fit two or three of me in those jeans. So it was, and plus my genetics are such that I hold a lot of weight on my lower half of the body. So it was very difficult for me to lose all of that. But the experiment worked.
You said earlier you were an alcoholic. You were doing everything that would take you to the grave earlier. One important
Yeah.
thing, especially for us, is our environment, to have the right kind of people around us. I
Yeah.
am assuming that when you were drinking, you would hang out with friends who also drank a lot.
Yep.
Now that you have reduced, or I think you stopped, uh,
Yeah.
now how do you hang out with friends?
Okay, so I've been an introvert. I wouldn't even like to call myself an introvert or an extrovert. I have always liked my own company because I always felt that people can't understand me for whatever reason. I don't know why, but ever since I was a child, I always felt that people just cannot comprehend what I'm saying. They cannot absorb my energy. They always used to refute my energy, or, it just wasn't vibing together. So I always had very little friends, and this entire alcoholism and the smoking and everything, all of that. Yes, it was an influence from the friends, but it was my conscious decision. It was my escape to my depression, my anxiety, my fears, my insecurities, my stress. I thought it was an escape, but it was another path which was taking me closer to the deathbed. But so yeah, that was it. So obviously the friends that I had back then, they're not my friends now, obviously, because the choices have changed. Maybe some of them are still stuck in that, and they will come out of it eventually, either now or when they're dying, whatever it is. But this is, yeah, obviously I to be very honest, I have very little friends. I can count my friends on just these two hands. That's it. Very, very little friends. And yeah, we go through the lows and the highs together. That's why I even call them my friends. But the other people were just there in my life to show me a path. It was my choice to walk on it. I walked on it. I saw the bad side of it, and then I decided to change my path. So I'd like to put it that way.
Very little friends, quality over quantity, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my definition of friends is if I cannot be myself with you, I won't even call you a friend. I'll call you an acquaintance. I need to see you as a family member. Only then I even count you on these two hands. That's how very picky I am, because I don't like sharing my energy with the people around me, because a lot of people are just, suckers for this energy. And they drain you. And I have been drained a lot because I didn't know how to manage this energy that I had. So now that I, choose the people I interact with, I choose how much to give. Uh, I'm slightly better off now.
Uh, if there is one advice that you had to give for someone facing hair fall, what would that one advice be?
Hmm. Okay. So the one advice, the very, very important advice that I want to give everyone is for you to realize that your hair grows from the inside out. Okay. The biggest thing that we all do is when we are facing pimples, acne, or hair fall, we buy a product to apply from outside. Okay. And we think that, just applying this cream for my face or applying this minoxidil for my hair is going to get my hair back. It will give you temporary results, but you're not going to be, those results are not sustainable. So the most important thing you have to realize is that you have to first purify your inner being. Okay, your body needs to be purified first. Only then all the externalities will, you know take care of themselves. I just got done with a consultation because before this podcast, and I was explaining the same thing over there as well, that your body always has its survival as its first priority. Okay, and your keeping your hair is not a part of its survival. Okay, you lose your hair and you'll still live an 80-year-old life. That's still possible. But to keep your hair, your body will not sacrifice its liver or whatever is, a problematic part of your body. So what I would recommend is you first focus on a healthy lifestyle, focus on better mental health, focus on all of those things. Make sure your body's survival is at the lowest maintenance. It should not be having to fight for, survival, fight with this inflammation, fight with this toxicity, fight with this negative emotions every day, and still keep your hair. It just becomes very, very difficult, right? So that's how I look at it. And this is something that has worked for me. I don't know, like, what people will take out of this, but yeah.
Yeah, people usually, when they think of health or even looks, they only think of the exterior. They don't think
Yeah,
interior at all. Interior
we
takes so
take it
much.
for granted.
Mm.
We take it
It,
for granted.
and interior takes so much effort. You have to maintain a healthy diet, exercise. They want all quick fixes. You have such a thick beard. Does it ever itch or anything like that?
Yeah. So if I see, the thing with itching is there are two parts to itching. One part is the dryness of your skin. If you're not hydrated enough, okay, then it will itch. And the second part is you actually having some sort of an infection, fungal infection. Maybe you're not managing your hygiene, beard hygiene properly. So this is only the two times when your beard will itch. So you just make sure that you're hydrated enough, you're applying your beard oil, or you're applying any good carrier oil out there. It doesn't have to be from a brand. Even a normal cold pressed almond oil is very, very sufficient as a beard oil. You apply that and you give what the skin requires. That's pretty much it. And you keep washing it at least like with a good beard wash or a baby shampoo, like around twice a week. Even that's perfectly fine.
Hmm. Earlier, few years ago, even I used to have patches on my skin where I used to, there was no hair growth at all on my face. So I used to
Yeah.
go to the doctor and they used to inject me with Kenacort.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
my God.
I did this a few
Wow.
times and my beard started growing back, but now I've stopped. Now I've had no problems. I'm not
Hmm.
sure exactly what it is, but few people say stress, few people say some kind of hormonal imbalances.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
when you
So
encounter these cases, what do you think?
about patchy beard,
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the thing with patchy beard is it is very, very, very reliant on your genetics. Okay, some people get a full beard when they're around 18. Okay, some people will get a full beard when they're around 23, 24. Some people might get a full beard after their 30s, and some people might never get a full beard naturally. Okay, it's very specific and individual and unique from person to person. Just to have a blanket rule saying that everyone is supposed to have, a thick long beard like a Sardarji or whatever, it doesn't work that way. Okay. Second aspect to it is patches take time. Time and length is the solution for patches. No matter what you apply, yes, you apply minoxidil, you take these injections, you do PRP, your beard will come out, no doubt. But they will only come out if you already have hair follicles over there. Okay. So now I'll tell you one thing. You can see these patches over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over there are no hair follicles. No matter how many times I apply minoxidil over there or apply these injections, nothing will come out over there because there are no hair follicles. For most people who have these patches, they have hair follicles, but they are still dormant. They haven't matured enough. Okay. So all they need is time. Okay. They need time, they need patience, and they need a good health, good blood circulation, good lymph circulation. Once the time is right, once the hormones are at the optimal level, that beard, that hair follicle is bound to bloom and give growth to hair. That is bound to happen. So even I had a patchy beard when I started out. I put it out in a few videos of mine. I had a lot of patches over here, on both the sides of my cheek. All I did was just stop shaving, gave it time, and focused on my health. It just filled up because it was in my genetics that my beard was going to grow. So this is where a lot of the beard companies, it's their money making time, because they know that a lot of people are going to get a beard, but they are impatient. That's why they sell you beard growth oils and tell you that our beard growth oil is going to grow your beard, and and the time frame they give you is around 6 months to a year, right? 6 months to a year, if you anyways have patience, your beard is bound to grow. Okay. They are just taking that time and distracting you into using something, and mentally it's a placebo effect. You're mentally manifesting it subconsciously that this is happening, this product's going to work, and it does work. So all you need is just a strong mind. That's all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And since you have such a long beard, do people ever discriminate you?
Not now,
Mm.
but early on when I started growing a beard. So I'm a Gujju. Okay, I'm a Gujarati, and Gujjus don't grow a beard. Maximum they'll have a stubble or maybe just long mustache. That's it. They will not grow such a big beard. Like 95% of the Gujjus won't. So when I started growing it out, I faced a lot of discrimination. Like when I used to walk on the road, people just used to stare at me and call me a Muslim for no reason. Okay. And I didn't know why only Muslim. Like, are they the only bearded people on this planet? I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't understand it. So even my relatives, my friends, my family members, everyone was like, "You look, very uh, what do you say, untidy." Okay. Uh, and I'm like, "Do you go and say this to a Sardar or a Muslim guy? Do you have the balls to go and say this to them? You don't. Then why do you say this to me?" uh, so I even, at that point I was taking some job interviews. I was going to some job interviews, and the person who was taking my interview, they said that you will have to shave your beard. So I went for a biotechnology based interview. So I had to work in a lab, and I had to, I had to be clean shaven for that profession. And they said that you'll have to be clean shaven, we'll take you. I'm like, no, I'm not shaving my beard for this. Then they're like, why? And I'm like, do you ask this question to a Sardar? You would still hire a Sardar, right? And that Sardar would still come with a beard to your office in the same lab as I am working. Then why this discrimination? And then they'll be like, no, they have a religious reason. So even I do. Take that as the excuse if you want to, but then it doesn't work. These people, most of the people have a very very narrow mindset, and a very very programmed mindset to, especially religion. They have very very shut doors. If you have a religious exemption for something, then they'll be like, okay, great. But if you don't, and you don't fit into the criteria of that religion, and how you are supposed to look according to that religion, it doesn't just, their computation doesn't work that way. I wear a pagdi, I'll look like a sardar right now. I'll wear that topi, I'll look like a Muslim right now. I'll tie my hair behind, I'll look like a Christian right now. It doesn't matter about, it's not about the religion, and it doesn't even have to be discriminated. But yes, I did face a lot of discrimination, and it mostly used to affect me initially. But after a point, it was like, I want to do this. So I am going to do this no matter what people say and what I have to lose for this. And yeah, life has worked great.
Do you ever get angry?
I used to. I had very, very severe anger issues. Now, I won't say that I'm a saint now and I don't get angry. I do get angry. There are some times where, the water just crosses my head sometimes. But the frequency of that happening is like a minuscule percent as compared to what it used to be before. And I have no, problem in admitting that I used to have severe anger issues where once I'm pissed off, my mouth is shut and only my hands work. It used to be that bad. And I have no problem in saying that because it's a journey that I had to go through to reach here. And it's okay. A lot of things had to be the way they had to be for it to be the way it has to be today. And I'm okay with that. It's perfectly fine with me. But yes, there were a lot of anger issues, and mostly it stemmed from my misunderstanding of how life should be, my misunderstanding of how relationships should be, my misunderstanding of uh, you know, how you are supposed to accept thoughts from someone else or accept their point of view from someone else. I could never accept another person's point of view. It used to be like my way or I get pissed off and then I'm going to fight with you. And now that because of this drama that has been going on since the past 1.5 year, and I'm speaking up about this, a lot of people are exactly where I was many years back. They have a set, a program in their mind, and anything apart from that I speak, and it immediately triggers that flight or fright response in them. And it just comes out as anger. Anger is nothing but uncontrolled fear. It's just untapped into, you don't understand fear, you don't keep it in the right place, and then it comes out as anger, it comes out as 100 different things. So yes, that was a part of my life. You're going to get some really, really pathetic sides of me on this podcast, and then the people who are seeing me right now, they're like, "How the hell is he so chill right now?" Yeah, because I'm going to be very honest. It's been a hell of a transformation, uh, and I'm glad. I'm glad that I went through all of that.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said. Anger is out of fear, because I've also noticed a lot of people who get triggered for small things, who just start screaming for small things. A lot of them have, a lot of them had bad childhood, or they had
Yeah.
some kind of traumatic experience in their past which they have not addressed properly, and it's stuck somewhere in their subconscious. They might have even forgotten about it, and they're taking the anger, some fight they had with their parents at the age of 13, that anger they'll take it on me or someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And initially I used to get very offended, like it's a part of this journey that we are on, that we do not tend to respect someone else's emotion. Especially this happens with males more. We don't want to understand the other person's situation. And initially, even I used to get pissed off. Like, I'm trying to save the people by telling them the truth about this stupid virus. And why are they getting angry on me? Why are they abusing me? And I used to be so pissed off. I'm like, you die or you do whatever you want. You take the bloody shot and do whatever you want. And then slowly, as and all of this, I have to tell you one thing: a real big key to where I am today is meditation. Without that, and by meditation, people just have this image about meditation that there'll be a yogi sitting in cross-leg posture on top of some Himalayas and closing his eyes and zoned out. That's not meditation. Okay. By meditation, what I mean is constant awareness. Okay, constant awareness without prejudice. That's true meditation. Okay, when you are aware about how you feel, you are aware about all the triggers around you, you are aware about everything without having a preset notion of, कि ये ऐसे ही होना चाहिए, ये वैसे ही होना चाहिए, without having a prejudice. When you are aware, and at the same time you are aware and making a note of all the cycles that are happening, all the triggers that are happening. See, now anger is triggered, that is the only thing that we notice, but there are maybe 10 different steps before it that happen as a domino effect, and then anger is the final outcome, right? So being aware of all those 10 different steps before that domino falls off and anger is shown to the external world, that is meditation. Obviously you sit down, you calm down, you breathe, all of that is a part of meditation, no doubt. So this is something that has helped me to introspect, to understand that someone else also is going through a journey, someone else is also having their problems in life and unhealed emotions in life, and that what they have shown to me is just a manifestation of all the hidden traumas within them, which they are not addressing, maybe because they are afraid, maybe because they don't know how to address it, maybe because they feel that giving it energy, giving it attention is just going to have a negative impact on them. That is every person's own understanding of that situation, but this is something that meditation has opened up doors for me to understand, because I was also a product of this stupid prejudice that we keep on, we hold on to it, and our ego loves to hold on to prejudice. So this is something that I very recently, I think maybe a year or two ago, only learned to let go and learned to understand the other person's journey as well.
Yeah, what you said a lot of interesting things, but one thing that I, remember you saying just now is it happens especially for males, because
Yeah,
there's so many stereotypes about men. Mard ko dard nahi hota hai,
yeah,
and now they're
yeah.
saying masculinity is toxic and all that. Do you think we men should express our emotions more openly?
Okay, so expressing or not expressing is a personal choice, but understanding is something that whether you're a male or a female, you have to. You can choose to express only two emotions out of a plethora of emotions. That's your personal choice. But if you understand only two and you've ignored all the rest, you'll live a half life. You won't be able to understand anybody else then. If you don't understand depression, you will never understand what a depressed person goes through. If you don't understand anxiety, you will not understand that. If you don't understand jealousy, you will not understand the other person's situation. So understanding each and every emotion is very important. Expressing it, that's totally up to that person, because whatever that person wants to express is coming out of that person's compulsion or that person's unawareness. Okay, if that expression is happening like like constantly I want to gossip, okay, maybe I'm stuck in an unaware compulsion that I have to get it out to some other person all the time. Okay, now is it toxic or not? That's again individual to individual. It again depends how you are affected by it, how strongly you've held on to it. So yeah, whether you express it or not, that's okay, but understanding, that's very important.
Very true. And you keep yourself very healthy now, physically healthy, mentally healthy, and you don't eat the breakfast, you do an intermittent fasting. What kind of food do you eat on a daily basis?
So usually I would say 80% of my entire year's food would be just one meal a day. Okay, so I'll only have one meal a day in the afternoon around 3:30, and that's it. Nothing before that, nothing after that. Some days I might have two meals in a day, maybe a lunch and a dinner. That is only if I'm going out with friends, going out for a meeting, going out with family, all that stuff. Usually what happens is and it's taken me a lot of time to come down to this one meal, and for all the people who are watching, I don't want you to suddenly be inspired by me and start a one meal a day tomorrow, because you'll crash. Okay, your body doesn't work that way. you have to go very slowly. So first what I did was I cut off all the snacks, and I used to just have the two solid meals that I had. I never had a breakfast, so lunch and dinner I cut off all the snacks in the middle. Then I slowly cut off dinner, and then I reached the one meal a day. So usually what I do is I follow a pattern, and I urge everyone to at least study some more about this, because don't take anything that I'm telling in this video blindly. Don't follow me blindly, and I'm being very open about it, because what has worked for me may or may not work for you. Take what I'm giving you and do your own research, and do what works for you. All right. So what I do is I introduce food into the body in first a liquid form. Okay, because that's the easiest to digest. Okay, it'll enter your stomach and go out of the stomach within maybe 5 minutes maximum, depending on what type of liquid you're putting in. Then I put in some fruits. Okay, then I put in some salad, then I put in cooked food, and then if I am still hungry, I'll have some nuts or almonds, or seeds, pumpkin seeds, watermelon seeds, all of that stuff. So there's a sequence to it. And the reason why there is a sequence is because every food takes different time to get digested. Okay. Fruits will take around 15-20 minutes to pass from your stomach to your intestine. Okay. Raw vegetables will take around 30 to 40 minutes. Depending on if it's a cruciferous vegetable, it will take slightly longer. If it's normal cucumber and tomato and all of those things, it will pass within 30 minutes. Then comes your cooked food. If you're a vegetarian, it'll take around 1.5 to 2 hours, okay, to go from your stomach to the intestine. If you're a non-vegetarian, if you eat chicken, it'll take around 2.5 hours is a good amount. If you eat pork, if you eat beef, it'll take around 3 to 4 hours just to go from your stomach to the intestine. Okay, so going in a systematic manner gives your stomach enough time to digest everything properly. Okay, if a particular food needs 1 hour to get broken down in the stomach, but you're giving it only 15 minutes, because after that you've pushed some other type of food which requires more time, it's going to get pushed. Your stomach only has a limited amount of space. Okay, and the problem that happens especially in India is before one meal gets digested, we introduce another meal, and that's very wrong. Okay, before our lunch is done, we will introduce chai and samosa and snacks, and then before that is digested, we'll have a very heavy dinner, and before that is digested, we'll have some very very heavy sweet. So we have to give the body time to digest. And one more thing that I want to, since you've asked me this question, your body can decide between digestion and detoxification only one at a time. Okay, if your body is constantly digesting from morning, you have a breakfast, then you have chai, then you have lunch, then you have dinner, then you have, if you're constantly making your body digest, your body will not detoxify properly. And by detoxification, I just don't mean peeing and shitting. That's not what I mean. Detoxification at the cellular level, autophagy at a cellular level, every type of toxin release that is happening at a cellular level, that will only happen when your body does not have to digest any food, because all your energy has to move out of this central abdomen and go to all parts of the body. When you are digesting, see, because when you introduce food is major source of energy for us. Okay, so your body will give full preference to digesting that food, because that is its energy source, that is its nutrient source. So learning intermittent fasting is very important, because you give your body that 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours without food, for it to focus on detoxifying your cells, to kill cancer cells, to kill all these tumors, to reduce your inflammation, to regenerate your brain cells, to regenerate your liver cells. All of this happens and will happen at a efficient rate only when it doesn't have to digest food constantly. So this is what I follow, and I've been doing this intermittent fasting to almost for my life. But this hardcore intermittent fasting of just having one meal a day is since probably 3 or 4 years now. uh, so yeah, and the maximum I've gone without food is around 3 days. I want to do a 7-day thing, but with not being on keto, it's actually quite difficult, because if your body is constantly fueled by carbohydrates, it's going to get depleted very quickly. If your body is running on ketones, it can run on ketones for a very long period of time. It's a much more efficient fuel source. So maybe if I go on keto again sometime in the future, and then I'll try that 7 day of no food. But let's see.
Fascinating, man. That was a treasure of knowledge about diet and fitness. And we need to know as much about natural immunity and fitness as possible, because unfortunately, Instagram recently banned hashtag natural immunity.
I saw that. I saw that.
Right.
It
I
was
mean,
hilarious.
hilarious. I mean, okay, banning conspiracy theories and all is something that they've been doing from a long time, but natural
True.
immunity also became a conspiracy theory now. It's like, and you gave a lot of tips just now about dieting, and people don't want to listen to this. Even in the
Yeah.
United States, around 600,000 people died of COVID in the past 2 years. Out of that, the average person who died had not one or two, but four comorbidities. That is, they had obesity, diabetes, everything. And
Right.
sometimes these comorbidities play a bigger role in the death of the person than COVID, but in the death certificate, they'll still put as
Absolutely.
COVID. What do you
Absolutely.
think? What do you think about this circus that is happening in the world right now?
Okay. So what I used to see it as, these few bunch of people trying to kill the population. I started with that sort of a mindset. Now I'm at a mindset that this is a test. Okay, this is a test for how dependent you are on the system. This is a test for how well you understand your body, how much you have respected your body. This is a test of how mentally strong you are. This is a test of how detached you are from your emotions, detached you are from your compulsions, detached from all the external shows that we do, external faces that we have for the public. How detached you are from image building, how detached you are from all of this. This is a very big test that is going on. This is how I see it today. Okay, if you respect your body, COVID would have not even touched you. Okay, because if you ate well, if you made sure you got enough sunlight, you slept well, you exercised, even if COVID happened to you, you would have recovered without medications. And that's what happened to me. I got it. I didn't even get tested because I knew the test is wrong. Okay, because I am a bite. I've done RT-PCR and I know that it cannot, find out if a person is infectious or not. So I didn't get that test. It took me around 2 weeks without medications, not even a paracetamol. I had 102 fever. I lost my smell. I lost my taste. I even had extreme body pain. I could not breathe for almost a day properly. I felt like there was like a 25 kg weight on top of me. I could not breathe. My chest felt constantly full of something. It just felt heavy. It felt like a smoker's chest. So I knew this was different, but I knew that I will not take a medication and I will come out of this, because that way I was mentally prepared for this, because I knew the test they have for this, the medication they have for this, none of that is effective. Okay, so that is how I went into it. Now you'll see one thing: the people who are suffering from this entire drama that's going on are the people who are heavily dependent on the government, heavily dependent on the system, heavily dependent on their compulsions. मॉल जाना है, थिएटर जाना है, सब कुछ करना है, टाइम पास करना है, तो वैक्सीन लेंगे, right? So how dependent you are on your compulsions, that is what is actually taking them down this path. So it's, if you are totally detached from all of this, none of this is actually affecting you, because malls are shut. I don't care. I'm getting to eat. I eat one meal a day, doesn't really bother me. I don't get food to eat for 3 days. I'm okay with it. So malls are shut, theaters are shut, doesn't matter. Test is going on outside. I'm okay. I'll sit over here. I'll roam around in my colony. I'm okay with it. You have to learn to adapt to this. Comorbidities happen only when people have a toxic mindset towards life. It doesn't even begin with your food. It begins with this toxic mindset that I will eat anything and still be healthy. That is the toxic mindset that people have. I will think anything and still be healthy. We talk about natural immunity, and immunity is just not about your food or the supplements you take or how much haldi you drink. All of that is secondary. One of the major things is your gut health, but above that gut health is also how you look at life, how your thoughts are, how you have managed to take care of your anger, your jealousy, your negative emotions, as we call it. How toxic you are. If you're constantly toxic, you're constantly angry, you're constantly jealous, your immunity is definitely going to be lesser than any other person, because you yourself are creating a poison every single moment of your life, and you are drowning in that poison. Because you being jealous, you being angry is only affecting you. It's not affecting the other person unless you physically harm that person, right? So every day you are drowning in your own poison, and that definitely impacts your immunity. That's without a doubt. And I think there will be research about this. I have not read it, but I'm sure there will be some research about this somewhere. But yeah, so natural immunity, and especially talking about these comorbidities, one of the major aspects is that because in the recent last, maybe I would say 20 years, the packaged food industry has, boomed like significantly. Our foods have become genetically modified. Our majority of the diet is like McDonald's, KFC, pizzas, all of this stuff.
Exactly. The
Now the point
one
is that, yeah,
second. The same guy
yeah,
who's selling the injection is also selling GMOs. Is also selling vegan meat. Whether you're a
exactly,
vegetarian or a non-vegetarian is a different thing. I don't think anyone should eat that disgusting
exactly.
vegan. And you made an episode on that also. It's very interesting.
Yes, yeah. As I was saying about the food, so what happens is that all diseases, all lifestyle diseases especially, will come when the pH of your blood, okay, is imbalanced. It should be around 7.34. If it goes below it, if it becomes acidic, that's when all sorts of diseases start happening to you. Okay, it could be as low as maybe a wart coming out, or a mole coming out, or skin tags coming out, or maybe your feet swelling up, or maybe eye bags, or something. It could be as small as that, or it could be as big as full blown diabetes, cancer, liver, fatty liver, all of that stuff. So it all begins with that toxic mentality, or I don't even, chalo, let's not even call it toxic. That unaware mindset, or unaware outlook towards life, that if you give bad fuel to this engine will still continue to work at its optimum efficiency. That is not going to happen. If you put diesel in a petrol car, it's not going to run. What we are doing is we are putting kerosene in a petrol car. We are putting the worst of the worst food as fuel, in terms of all these packet lays, chips, ye wo sub, and we are expecting our mental health to be good. How is it going to be good? Your gut is sacrificed in this. Okay, if your gut does not have a healthy balance of good and bad bacteria, you're definitely not going to have good thoughts. You're definitely not going to have a good mindset, because constantly your body is fighting inside. Constantly it is fighting with this toxicity that has been created because of our bad eating habits, bad thoughts, everything. So people need to understand this about thoughts as well. All the thoughts are not yours which are generated. Okay, you are just a receiver and they're just going by. So take it from one ear and let it go. That's how, what we do is we have a thought and then we stick to that thought forever. Okay, and then it just builds this toxicity within us. So you're just an antenna over here. You take the thoughts, you let it go, you become a transparent being. That is very important. Let it flow through you. We take it and we hold on to it, and that is what creates a lot of issues for us.
Yeah, in the past 1.5 year, there's because of this circus, lot of strange things like lockdowns, and they people are
Yeah.
wearing 2-3 masks, and but one of the strangest things is this COVID vaccine. And
Hmm.
what do you think? Because you have done M.Sc in biotechnology, so what do you think about these vaccines?
Okay. So something that has not affected you in the last 1.5 year, and which it has not affected 95% of this population. Okay. Why do you want to forcefully inject something into your bloodstream which has the potential to change your genetics? Why would you do that? Forget it. This is still very technical. Most of the people, I would say 90% of the people who have taken this shot don't even know the ingredients of this shot. And they don't even bother to ask that person who is giving it कि इसमें गया क्या है, what are the ingredients. And I don't even expect that from them, because these are the people who are eating McDonald's, these are the people who are eating pizzas and fries. When they don't ask and when they don't care about what ingredients are put in that burger, which are going to go into your body, become energy, and that energy is going to reflect throughout everything, your thoughts to everything. When you are not bothered about that, I don't even expect such people to be bothered about the ingredients of a vaccine. Okay, so it is a very far-fetched expectation that I'm even having from these people. But utna to samjho ki it's not a pill that you're taking, this is something that you are directly injecting into your bloodstream. Now let us take a step back. This virus, if it exists, okay, this virus is a respiratory virus. Okay, your levels of immunity are multitude. It's just not that कि एक जगह पे आपकी बॉडी पे एक आर्मी बैठी है और वो आर्मी लड़ेगी. It's not like that. Your immunity starts from each and every orifice that you have. Okay, you have immunity on your skin, you have immunity on in your eyes, you have immunity in your ears, you have immunity everywhere. Okay, you have these cells which are ready to combat bad pathogens or opportunistic or parasitic pathogens at all stages in your body, at all levels of your body. A respiratory virus will enter through your mouth or through your nose, correct? So that is the first line of defense. It should get blocked in your nose because of your nose hair, because of the mucus, because of all of these things. If it doesn't get blocked here, it might get blocked somewhere down the line in the mucus passage. If it doesn't get blocked there, naturally it has to go into your stomach. Okay, that stomach acid will naturally kill it. Okay, if it even doesn't reach there and it directly manages to somehow go into your lungs, there are immune systems over there as well. So you have multitude of immune barricades which your body has given you to fight off or protect you from respiratory viruses or bacteria or whatever it is. And you guys are taking that same thing which is supposed to pass through all this and injecting it directly into the bloodstream. So it is passing all of these things. It is not even going through these checks. These are just virus checks that are happening at every point. Because of this shot, it is passing all of that directly entering your bloodstream. Now once it's in your bloodstream, it can cause havoc if the companies wanted to cause havoc. And we don't know what these mRNAs are going to do. Right now they are saying that it's just going to produce spike proteins. We don't know if that mRNA is actually going to completely change your genetic makeup or completely change how your immunity works today. And this we will only come to know maybe 5, 10 years, 15 years down the line. And is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk? Why are you taking this risk? For what? To go to a mall, to travel to somewhere where it's okay, even if you don't travel you'll still survive. Like, what is the risk factor? That, see, some people need to go out, they've got a college admission and they have to do it. Those people, I'll still be like, chalo theek hai, it's your education and you have made this choice, it's still okay. People are taking this to go to Goa, because now in Goa they won't even take you without this thing. So just to go to Goa you are taking this. Are you taking this to go to Goa, or are you taking this to prevent yourself from this virus? What is the definition of vaccine now? Is it a way to prevent you from a virus, or is it a way to give you your choices, your entertainment? So that is what something people have to decide. What are they giving off? What are they trading off in place of this?
Yeah, I know. But they will just say, relax, man, just trust the experts, trust the science, is what they'd say. And I am
Okay.
not, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So people, when I started off talking about this, so I made my first video in Feb. because I came to know about this in Jan, that there is something that is going on in China, and it's going to spread all throughout the world. Okay, so I started studying about this, and I started finding some research papers about this, and I started looking at old medical. So people, obviously, the people who are watching your podcast, they are seeing me for the first time. So I have uh, cracked my MBBS and BDS exams as well. So I wanted to become a cardiologist only because the college was asking for donation. I didn't want to, go in that route. Otherwise, I would have been a doctor right now. And I'm thankful that I'm not a doctor right now. Otherwise, if I wouldn't have been aware, I would have been the part of the problem. Okay. So what I was saying is that when I started talking about this, initially people are like, why would the government want to do this to you? Why would the government put you inside your homes and tell you to wear a mask if the mask is not even preventing you, if the lockdowns have never prevented anyone in the human civilization for doing for a respiratory virus, because your windows are open. You are someday going to get out of your house. You're not going to stay in your house forever. So whenever you get out of your house, it is going to be there, right? And I started reading about these medical literatures. At that point there were very little medical literature. So what I do is I get my scientific information from NCBI. I don't trust these Googles and these all these things. So I get it from the source. And I started reading all these medical textbooks, and over there it was written that coronaviruses are just flu viruses, okay, and they cannot cause any more harm than a normal influenza virus unless they are genetically tampered with. Okay, the gain of function. Okay, unless they are genetically tampered with, nothing can happen to you. It is just a flu. Okay, so I started looking about this, and then slowly the talks at that time started coming ki nahi RT-PCR hoga, ye hoga, and I'm like, dude, I've been doing RT-PCR. So again, people who don't know me, I used to work in BARC, which is Baba Atomic Research Center. I've worked there for around 6-8 months. So I've done RT-PCR every single day of my period over there. I've converted RNA to DNA. I've taken out RNA. I've worked with everything that you can imagine in the lab, in actual practice. So I knew that RT-PCR cannot do anything apart from amplification. Okay, it just cannot tell you if you have something. It can amplify any bloody thing that you want in the body, and it can give you a result. So I started speaking about this, and people were telling me, why would the government do this? And government always has the best interest in heart for the citizens and all. I'm like, this is the same government that sells you alcohol. This is the same government that sells you cigarettes. This is the same government that has theaters and entertainment to continuously blind you, to continuously keep you stuck in this matrix. This is the same government who has been keeping generations of your bloodline suppressed. And you are asking me to trust this government? It's it only comes when you actually realize. See, when they opened up lockdowns or when they started opening up shops, the first thing they opened was a liquor store. Why would they open a liquor store?
Tax.
Because they get money from that. They don't give a shit about you. They don't care if you live or die. All they care about is their taxes and the money that you pay them. That's why they opened the liquor store first. And we idiots, we made lines, kilometers and kilometers of lines to get a poison. This is why I'm not even surprised that people are lining up for this shot. Because when people can line up for a poison like alcohol or cigarettes, cigarettes were being sold in black. I still remember in my friend circle, a packet usually cost what, 200, 250, 300 bucks. Okay, and it was sold in black for 800 bucks, and people were still buying it. So all of this shit was happening, and if people are making such decisions, I don't even expect them to even question that the government can do something bad to them. It's just a matter, it's just a phase in their life, and they will go through it and they will come out of it. I just hope they don't lose too much in the process.
Yes, yes. And you spoke beautifully about theaters and meaningless entertainment just to suppress people's thoughts, watching mainstream media. It's like a hypnosis. And you also said Matrix. We're all stuck in this simulation or in this matrix. How do we free ourselves from this?
I don't have an answer. And to be very honest, even if I had the answer, I would not be able to articulate it, because I feel that everyone is bound to be free sometime or the other. It's just how much time it takes. And no matter, see, tomorrow I might be free from this and I might not be able to tell you, because that experience might be way beyond the 26 alphabets of the English language. I I can't explain it to you. And I'm not saying I'm free. I have my bondages. I have ways where I'm still dependent on some things, but I've managed to reduce this significantly to a point wherein no matter what you take away from me, I'll still be happy. So I think it's just a journey. And see, again, the Matrix, why do we want to get out of it? Do we see this as a suffering? Do we see this as punishment? Only then you would want it to end, right? uh, the reason why a person who has depression wants depression to end, because they see it as a suffering, because they see it as a jail, because they know that they are drowning in it every single day, but they don't know how to swim. And personally, being a person who has been in depression for a long time, uh, again, I don't, now people will be like, he's just making up these stories. I don't have any proof for you guys. I don't have medical certificates to tell you I had COVID. I'm just telling you, you can buy it if you want to. If you don't want, you don't buy it. But you will know what I'm saying is the truth only when you experience it. So that is a part of your journey, and you will know when you need to know. But only a person can come out of depression when that person realizes that everything was always in your control. Okay. uh, See, if you watch the movie The Matrix, Neo has said that the problem is the choice. Okay. And every time we are stuck in between choice, we are stuck in between this duality, we are stuck in between the right and the wrongs, we are stuck in between Hindu and Muslim, we are stuck in between these two yin and yang that is constantly created in our life, in the society, in the system, everywhere. If you are going to constantly say that one choice is correct and the other choice is wrong, you are always going to be stuck in this matrix. You are always going to be stuck in this duality, because you have labeled one as right and labeled one as wrong. And every time you make the wrong decision, you will punish yourself much more than it is required. No decision is right and no decision is wrong. It is just a decision. It is just a choice. It is just a door that you've walked. The path ahead, that is completely not in your control. Okay. So I see it like that. Again, I might be totally wrong. I might have some points that even I'm missing, and maybe in the future I might understand some more about this. But what I feel is that instead of trying to escape it, because this is something I'm talking about, I'm trying to correlate emotions with the matrix. Okay. If I am a person who has anger issues, and if I'm constantly fighting this anger, okay, I'm constantly trying to escape it, I'm just making it worse. Okay, because it's going to chase me faster, it's going to chase me harder, and it's going to come out of me in a much more powerful way. But if I just sit there, I accept it, I let it do its duty. Anger is required at some point for you to actually pump up your blood, okay, for you to actually have that flight or fight response, anger, fear, all of those things. So everything has its place. Even in the matrix, the people, all these so-called what do I say, these programmed beings who are servants to the authority which tries to suppress us, all of those people will only affect you to the limit you allow them to affect you. If you try to shun them away, if you try to close the doors, they'll come with a bazooka and they'll blast that door open. So what I feel is that all we need to do is just be aware, live life from moment to moment, enjoy the experiences, learn, and let it happen, because everyone's going to die. Okay. Maybe the end of this matrix is your death. Maybe. Who knows? Okay. Who knows? Nobody knows. And maybe see, now people believe in rebirth, people believe in reincarnations and all of those things. Maybe that is only because the way you lived your life was not a complete life. Okay, maybe you had your prejudices, maybe you only were stuck in the rights. Okay, I'm a Hindu, so I cannot eat a cow. I'm a Muslim, so I cannot eat pork. You're stuck in this, and maybe after you die, then obviously you might have a rebirth, because you've not learnt about it, you've not gone above it. So I just feel that this has to be dissolved, just like our ego, just like our compulsions. The matrix has to be dissolved, uh, and there's no one door that you can take out of this. That's what I feel. Now I might be completely wrong, and maybe I'll know only when I die, so I don't know. Maybe you'll have to do this podcast when I'm dying.
Do you have any theories on the afterlife?
I don't know. To be very honest, I don't know, because to be very honest, I have not died and I've been reborn.
Yeah.
Especially in my understanding, I don't have that. Some people, yes, they say that, they have flashes of their past life and all of those things. I don't discard all of that, because I have not experienced all of that. And I don't say that is all pseudoscience and, just shun it. Shunning anything is going to create problems. Okay. So it might happen. I don't know anything about the afterlife. Maybe if I'm conscious enough, or maybe if my meditation becomes strong enough, I might get some insight into it, but I don't know. I very honestly, if I read some book and I recite some lines to you, you will feel that I'm so smart and I know about the afterlife. I know I'm lying, because I know I'm taking some lines from a book and, telling it to you and telling it to you as my experiences, and that is something that I don't do. I Even though I have read about afterlives, I have watched innumerable videos about it, and maybe in my head I feel that I know something about afterlife. I'll be very honest, and I don't know about afterlife. So yeah.
Yeah, even I used to not believe these things earlier. Okay, but then one of my guest, his name was John Chavez, and he started. He told me to do some research on this doctor called Jim Tucker. Jim Tucker.
Mhm.
He's from University of Virginia, and
Okay.
he's a child psychiatrist, and he talks to these children between the age of 3 to 6. And many of these kids said that I have flashes from my past life. One kid will say like, my name was Joe, I am from this city. So they will travel to that city and they will find that there was a man named Joe who died at this
Oh,
same time this child was born. And they found some
wow.
4,500 kids like this who were saying stories, and it matched. So it
Yeah.
changes the perception only of life. And then,
Absolutely, absolutely. And
yeah.
that's why, see, since I don't know what my name was earlier, just because I can't remember it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Uh, because if we try to shun these people, we'll make them enemies. Okay. And that's how, the witch culture ended. We just saw them as the enemies and we killed them, we crucified them, we, burned them alive. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. And to be very honest, even knowing that will not change your decision कि तुम McDonald's खा रहे हो या salad खा रहे हो, right? It doesn't really matter. On a larger scale of things, it doesn't really matter. It's just a, one extra skill that you have. uh, but how you are in terms of your choices that you make today, and how you are in terms of how you view life today, that is what is important. It doesn't matter if in the past life I could fly like Superman. Doesn't really matter. What am I going to do with that information? Nothing. And what am I going to do with the information of how to exit the matrix? Okay, if still I can't get over my anger issues, matrix exit करके भी मैं क्या करूंगा? I'll be forced back into this because it's not being dealt with. So
Yes.
yeah.
It's all about present actions and taking self-responsibility. Now we have outsourced our responsibility to the government. Government should take care. Corporation
Yeah.
should take care. Pfizer should give me tablet. This guy should give me some vaccine.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to be taking self-responsibility anymore. That has only become one big problem.
I'll tell you one thing. This has not happened, all of a sudden. What I feel is this is decades and decades and decades of dumbing down the generations, through food, through media, through everything. Okay. People now don't have energy. They don't have a drive. They don't have passion. They don't have motivation. They don't have anything. They are just goddamn tired because of constantly absorbing this toxic media, the toxic news, the toxic food, the toxic thoughts, the toxic way of life. They don't have energy to do anything. Even if they know that the government is not the, correct thing to put your trust into, they don't have the energy to take that responsibility. They'll be like, कौन करेगा यार? कौन जाएगा कोर्ट में? कौन लड़ेगा ये केस? Who will do this? Because this is through generations and it has gone through our bloodlines.
चलता है.
From our, yeah, chalta hi rahega, because right from our grandparents it has been, indoctrinated into us, constantly putting this low quality life into us, low quality visuals of life into us, that we have come to a point where we don't even respect a butterfly on a flower. It's come there to eat. But what will we do? We'll shoo it away, we'll pluck that flower. That's how insensitive we've become. So it is all, it's not just the food, or it's not just the media, it's just not that individuals look out towards life, it's just a collective. And it's not that you or me or saints like Sadhguru or someone are free from it. Every one of us have these things in us, and what we see outside is just a embodiment of our emotion that has not been dealt with in a proper manner. And you will constantly keep seeing such people in your life who trigger those emotions, so that you get out of it, you understand it, you learn it, you accept it, you give it that respect, and you get out of it. So yeah, it's beautiful to discuss these things, because I usually don't have these conversations with anybody, because people don't have the energy to even listen. And Pratham, I'm really thankful and grateful that you have the patience to listen to me, because either I don't talk, or if I start talking, I don't stop. So I'm really grateful that you have the patience to listen to me, and all the people who will be sticking around till this point. Thank you.
And one more grand question, because we're talking about grand things about life. Let me shoot you with one more question. What do you think is the purpose of life?
Okay. Now, to be very honest, I'll be living is the purpose of life. Okay. You can give it any definition you want. Maybe getting a car, getting a house, giving your parents a better life, traveling all over the world. You can give 100 different names to it. But I think living is the purpose of life. Living and learning about yourself is the purpose of life. Because as J. Krishnamurti says, there's no difference between the observer and the observed. Okay. You are here to learn about yourself. And only if you learn about yourself will you understand and learn about everything that is happening outside of you. How the society functions, why your neighbor is jealous of you, why your ex cheated on you. All of these things you will understand only when you understand yourself. So I think living and learning, that is the purpose of life.
Very interesting. True. And finally, Mr. Bearded Chokra, what are your future plans?
I don't have any. I don't
Okay.
have any, because to be very honest, I don't know if I'm alive tomorrow. And I'm okay with it, because I've lived my life to the fullest. I have made the most out of this podcast. So even if I fall dead after this podcast, I am going to be super satisfied. I don't have any regrets. So that is one very important thing, that I think, many people have a goal in their life, that, at 5 years down the line, I want to have this car, I want to have this income, I want to have this. I want you guys to put this, that 5 years down the line, I want to have no regrets. Why does nobody have this as a goal? 2 years down the line, I don't want to have any emotional bondages. I don't want to be driven by anger. I don't want to be driven by jealousy. I don't want to be driven by depression. Why does nobody have goals like this? Why are we so stuck in this materialistic world? uh, that is what I want to do. And to be very honest, if 5 years ago you took this interview of mine, I don't know why you would, but if 5 years ago if you took this interview of mine, I would have probably said that my future plan was to get rid of alcohol, to get rid of smoking. And it would have been such a narrow goal that I set onto myself, because obviously I would have accomplished it, obviously, because that is how manifestation works. Obviously, if I've said it and if I've put my energy to it and if I do the actions, it is bound to happen. But I would not have given you the insights I gave you today, and if I would have just left alcohol in the 5 years. So I don't want to limit myself by giving future plans, because I will only tell you the future plans according to my comprehension today. What I don't have today, I will only ask for that as a beggar for the next 5 years. But in that process, I will shut down all the other doors, all the other possibilities, because I'll be so focused on that thing that I've been begging for from life, not realizing that I can have it at any given moment of my life. So, whatever life brings to me, whatever it is, the good, the bad, whatever it is, I'm open, I'm going to live it. Because, see, no matter what you do, no matter if you eat a burger, no matter if you eat a salad, you are going to die. How peacefully you die is dependent on if you eat a burger or a salad. That is what differs. Will you pay medical bills and die, or will you live a peaceful, healthy, normal death? That is dependent on the choice you make, but you are going to die. So it does not, that is, this is something that people could not face when, this COVID drama started. People thought they were immortal, okay, and they can't die, okay, and then suddenly death stared at their face, and then suddenly something that you can't see can kill you overnight, and people just lost it, and they could not comprehend it. And I don't blame them, it's just a phase in their life, they were not ready for it. And maybe this, whatever happened, is good. Whatever has been going on since the past 2 years, maybe it is for the good, maybe. Even though there are 100 different reptilian theories and conspiracy theories and alien theories, and no matter what, I don't care about them, because they may or may not happen. And if I say that they will happen because this particular conspiracy theorist or this theorist, let's not even call it a conspiracy theorist, because people have labeled me also as a conspiracy theorist. If this particular person says that this is going to happen, and if I believe it, and if I really believe it, and if I keep constantly telling people that this is going to happen, then it is bound to happen, because that is how manifestation works. You have made it your reality, so let it be. See, the only thing in our control is our health. That's all that's in our control, to be very honest. The food choices you make, the way you think, that's all in your control. Tomorrow a tsunami can come and take away your flat, and then all your 5 year down ka planning is gone. So, and after that, all that reptilian, if after that even aliens come down, you will give two shits about those aliens, because your house is gone. So it does not matter what is it today, and what you can do to be less dependent on anybody, be it the system or be it anybody else, even less dependent on your ego, less dependent on your prejudices. That is the only thing that's in our control. And I think if we work towards that, no matter what comes our way, we will die a happy death. That's all.
Screw future plans. Just living and learning for today. I have
What else can
definitely,
you do? What
exactly.
else can you
Hmm. I've definitely learned a lot in the past 1 hour. Thank you so much, Abhijeet, for being on this podcast.
It's a pleasure, and I have learned a lot as well. I'm not going to lie, because in the process of me speaking to you, there are a lot of things that I've learned about myself. And this will come only when a person is aware, when a person is meditative all the time. Okay, and this is not a goal that you set on yourself. This comes through small choices that you make in your life. Okay, small choices end up in this awareness. Okay, so I've learned a lot. It has been a beautiful session. And Pratham, to be very honest, it's so interesting. And the questions that you've asked, I can talk like this for hours and hours, but I know the people don't have that sort of an attention span. I don't think anyone's even lasted till here. But it's been a beautiful time talking to you, and it's been very insightful for me as well, because now I know what I need to work on. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope to have you back on the podcast because there's so much more to
For
talk.
sure.
Thank you.